Hey guys, and thanks for joining me for yet another video. In this presentation, we're going to be make a highly requested pilau. I've made pilau in different styles with different forms of meat. However, the chicken is the classic that everyone knows about. So join me in this video and I'll take you step by step into how I achieve making a great wholesome pilau. So let's get into it. Guys, I'm just here getting ready to prepare a rice dish named pilau. This one's going to be a chicken pilau. So in this dish here, I have 5 thighs and 3 legs chopped, like I have them halved. I have oil, which we're going to need 2 cups of rice. I have 1 carrot cubed, 1 large onion cubed, and some green onion cubed, minced. You're also going to need some chicken base seasoning, some browning, some green seasoning, a touch of hot sauce, which is optional, but I'm going to use some today, a can of dry pigeon peas, and coconut milk, minced garlic, and minced ginger. So to a pot that's on medium-high heat, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cooking oil to that. And to that, we're going to immediately be adding all of our carrots, onions, and half of our green onions to that. So right as you add your veggies to the oil, you're just going to give it a quick mix to incorporate. I'll let this saute itself here for about, I'd say a good 3 minutes before you add anything else to it. So it's been about 3 minutes. Our vegetables have been sauteing. I'm just going to give it a stir to integrate. That stuff at the bottom of the pot will disappear once I add my next ingredient, which is going to be our chicken that's pre-seasoned. So we're just going to be incorporating that into our mixed veg. And then we'll allow this to steam for about 5 minutes before we do anything more. So it's been about 5 minutes that I added the chicken to the mixed vegetables and haven't touched it since. The bowl that the chicken was in, I added 4 tablespoons of water to it, and I just switched it around like this, and I'm going to be adding that to the chicken. Just a touch. So that was just 4 tablespoons of water. Next, we're going to be adding 1 teaspoon of minced garlic and 1 teaspoon of minced ginger. We're also going to be adding 2 tablespoons of chicken base seasoning and a full tablespoon of green seasoning. Gonna give that a mix. By the way, you should have some water, hot water on the side at this point, because you're going to be needing a cup of hot water to add to this as soon as I mix this in. I'm just going to let this develop its own boil for 5 minutes, and then we're going to be adding a cup of hot water to this. So here I'm going to add my half a teaspoon of hot sauce, which isn't mandatory. You don't have to add that. I just prefer the flavor. And now I'm going to add my 1 cup of hot water. By the time I add that, my chicken will be totally submerged in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a mix, and because it's hot, it's not going to take very long to develop back a boil. And once it develops back a boil, we're going to let it cook for 20 minutes before. So I transferred my 2 cups of rice to some water. This is pretty much hot water. I would say it's not just boiling hot, but it's just hot water, you know, from the tap. So I'm just rinsing this rice out, and I leave it soak in here until I'm ready to use it, just so it could continue taking out some of that starch. Now as far as our peas go, I'm going to be draining this off into a strainer, and that's it. I'm not going to rinse any of the flavor off of it. I'm going to add it after draining to the pot. Also, so if you cook with me in other videos, you'll realize that the coconut milk that I don't use, I usually freeze them in a sealed ice cube tray. So that's what's going on here. 3 cubes is equal to ½ cup, so I'm going to need a full cup for this recipe. So I'm going to be using 6 cubes of coconut milk, to add to my pot. I forgot I had this, hence the reason I was going to use the canned one, but we're going to finish these up before we start another one. So I'll use 6 of these to give me that 1 cup of coconut milk that I'll need. So as you can see, we had a 20-minute timer and we're like halfway through on it. So at this point is where I'm going to be adding my coconut milk to the chicken that's cooking right now. We're going to add our 6 cubes of coconut milk to this, as well as our peas, and then we're going to give it a mix. So here we go, adding our cubes of coconut milk, and then the peas will go in next, and I'll show you what that looks like before we integrate. So I just added the coconut cubes and I just put the peas in the middle of the pot here. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a nice mix, and we're going to allow this to bubble again. We have another 7 minutes. So in 7 minutes we're going to be adding our rice, our drained rice, to this. So this will have more than enough time to marinate before we add anything further to the pot. So we'll let this come to a bubble again. It's been a good 20 minutes altogether with the chicken cooking, and at a 7 or 8 minute point we added in our peas and our coconut milk, so that got a chance to marinate for a good 7 minutes, which is more than enough time. And now we're going to be adding in, this is where I put in my browning. I'm going to be putting a full tablespoon of browning at first. Add my browning at the end because I want my food to have the flavor that I put in there, and I find the browning is quite bitter, and if you let that flavor cook throughout your whole meal, your food will end up tasting a bit of bitterness, and you'll need sugar, and you may need ketchup, and you may need a bunch of stuff to try and fix that. So I just add it at this point for color adjustment, because as you know, pilau is a brown rice. So based on that, I'm going to be adding another tablespoon right here. I'm not going to be adding any more coloring. 2 tablespoons is more than enough for this portion of food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my fire down from medium high to medium low. So right where it says low, we're going to set it there. We're going to set a timer at this point for 25 minutes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in our rice right now. So we're going to add our rice into this, give it a mix, and then it'll be steaming down. Now we're going to give it a nice mix to incorporate the rice that we now add into this pot. As you can see, this is how I know there's enough water. Once you flatten out your dish and you realize your white rice is submerged, because it's going to be steaming for the next 20 minutes. So that's why we set a 25-minute timer, because it's going to steam. So now we're going to add that remainder of that green onion, and we're going to mix that in, and we're going to integrate that into our rice. I'm just going to flatten this right back out with the back of my spoon, and I'm going to put my lid on here now and let this steam for that 21 minutes that I have left on the timer here. Hey guys, so my timer, or 25 initially, 20-minute timer went off. So we're back here at the pot where our pilau was cooking. So we're gonna, I don't like to give it the stir, like I don't like that big stir, but hey, I'm just gonna check. I'm only pulling it back to check to make sure it's dried out, and it is. So that's perfect for me. This pilau is ready, so we're gonna just turn our stove off. So as you can see guys, this pilau is ready to be served. If you want, you can give it a good mix. I usually don't, I just serve from the side of the pot. That's ready. So as you can see, it's dry. Lots of steam because it's hot. We just turned it off, but there's no moisture. That's the whole thing. You want to make sure all your water is dried out, and it is. There's no water down there. So this is ready to be served. And you have it here, pilau, chicken pilau.